You're careful about what you eat and what products you use, and you want the same healthy life for your beloved pets. You've been searching the internet and social media for natural solutions to your pet's issues, and you're trying to find ways to prevent issues from cropping up in the first place. But everywhere you look, you find different answers, varied opinions, and you just end up more confused. Your pet is a part of your family. He deserves the best, and he deserves to live a long, healthy life. I'm here to tell you that it can be easy, that taking care of your pet naturally doesn't have to be a headache for you. I'm going to talk to you about everything natural wellness, including what to feed your pet, how to use herbs and essential oils, massage and hands-on techniques, meditation, communication, and energy healing. If it's natural, it's worth talking about. In this podcast, you'll learn everything you need to know about taking care of your pet naturally, for life. I'm Corine, and this is the Enlightened Animal Podcast. Hello, and welcome to this episode of the Enlightened Animal Podcast. I'm your host, Corine, and today we have the honor of welcoming the mystical and compassionate soul, Gina Slagle from Mystic Gigi. Gina's journey into the realm of intuitive healing and energy work began with a profound empathy for all living beings. Through her training in Reiki, she tapped into higher healing energies that empower others to live aligned with their highest potential. At home, Gina shares her space with 4 dogs and a cat who serve as her constant spirit teachers in the art of unconditional love. Through this sacred synthesis of animal spirit and higher vibrational frequencies, Gina uplifts and heals all who enter her world. Through her experiences, Gina has discovered the profound benefits of Reiki and energy modalities for our beloved animal companions. Her furry family members serve as living examples of the joy and relaxation that come from living fully in each moment. But Gina's mission extends beyond her home. As the intuitive healer and spiritual guide behind mysticgigi.com, she offers intuitive readings, energy healings, and courses to empower sensitive souls and empaths on their own journeys towards alignment with their highest selves. Join us as Gina shares her wisdom and insights, inspiring us to nourish and heal the animal spirits in our own lives. Welcome, Gina.
Hi, thanks. I'm so happy to be here.
Thank you. Thanks for spending some time with us today. So I love to start each podcast with a story. So if you would indulge us, I would love to hear the story of your transformation, of what changed in your life and brought you down this path of creating the business that you now have.
Yeah. Well, I've always been this way. I grew up this way. I came into the world in a fight or flight mode. But the moment that everything shifted, the time period that everything shifted was 2020. So in 2019, I left my job as a manager of a bar and grill that I had been at for 5-6 years. And I wanted to take care of my aging grandmother who was in her 90s and wanted to stay in her home that she'd been in for almost 74 or 75 years. And so I did that, and I became a full-time caregiver of my grandma Helen at night. And I worked part-time at another job during the day. And during that year, my other grandmother, who was also in her 90s, that lived back over here in South Dakota, started having some aging ailments as well. And over the course of that year, they both started going downhill a little bit health-wise. One grandmother went into hospice. My other Grammy, who was in her home, I had to walk out and take to the nursing home because it just became that point. She had progressive Parkinson's and so many other things. My other grandmother, once she went on hospice at home, she started doing great. She started thriving. And so we were very hopeful. And then and it was before COVID. It was right before COVID. But at the end of January, our family dog died.
Oh,
My daughter Hannah was getting married February 1st. On February 10th, both of my grandmothers happened to pass away on the same day.
wow.
So at 6 a.m., my grandmother Alice, who was at home, had a stroke. And so at 6 a.m., she was in hospice. She ended up passing away. So I grabbed her Bible, went down the road
Right.
to my other Grammy, who was hanging on and not really letting go. Um, and started praying over her I grabbed two of my aunts and I said, Grandma, you're going to meet Jesus today.
Mhm.
And I just started praying over her. I opened up a page in the Bible. I don't even know what I was reading. And she started right away in that transition. What happened is I felt like this presence around me all week. I was the go-to. I was the calm in the storm. It was just the shift. And I didn't know how to clear my energy. I didn't know how to ground myself. I didn't know what I was doing. And I realize now what a potent empath I am.
Yeah. Oh,
Very strong empath. So I ended up having a panic attack
mm.
right before my Grammy Helen passed away. I left. I gave her a kiss. I hugged her. I loved her. I got home. I sat on my bed and I could feel her pass through me. And then I got a call and she had indeed passed from that moment. And so that was just the onset of COVID. I couldn't grieve. I couldn't do anything because I was expecting my granddaughter to be born.
Wow.
And so that was February 10th, February 28th, my granddaughter was born. And when I found out she was okay, I literally started crying and I cried for 3 months. I couldn't stop. So what got me through that is I had been introduced years ago and never did anything with it, but Reiki started
Mm.
calling to me. And so the blessing is because it was right on the onset of COVID, everything became available online.
Yeah.
And so then I started my Reiki healing journey for myself. And then I just progressed onward from there. And it's been an amazing journey ever since. And it's taken me to deeper levels I never thought was possible. And in the meantime, my dogs, so now that happened,
Yeah.
but during the week, excuse me, during the week of the funerals for my grandmothers, both of my dogs, I had a toy poodle and I have a golden retriever who was 3 at the time, had seizures.
Wow.
And for the first time in the golden retriever at 3 was a grand mal seizure, a screaming seizure. And the
Mhm.
little toy poodle was just and I started realizing as well, we rescued her at 7 years old, but she was so attached to my energy that I had to calm my spirit down in order to raise her spirit. Otherwise, she would go into panic attacks and start heaving. And so it was really interesting to me. And then I started, that was the journey of me with the animals. But it didn't come later till I really connected the Reiki. And now I do Reiki healing all the time with my animals.
Right, right. And isn't it
Yeah.
amazing how they're, you're talking about your dog, your poodle, how they're such a mirror of our own internal states and how you had to adjust your state in order to help your dogs. So I always find that so
Yeah.
fascinating. So a lot of times people don't catch on to that, like, wait, they're mirroring to me things I have to work on in myself. So agree.
Yes. In essence, though, I just believe that's how I am, that sometimes we get graced with a split apart, or I call it a split apart, or a special soul that we get to be a guardian to. And so as much as I was helping her to calm down, she, in essence, ultimately was the one teaching me
Oh,
how to ground
definitely.
myself and how to
Definitely.
breathe through the tension moments in order to help her calm herself. But what did I learn from that? Like, I can do it,
Yeah, yeah.
so it was
And
pretty amazing.
I always say that we don't choose them, they choose us, even though we
Yes.
think with our big brains that we are the ones who are making the decisions. And they
No.
are our greatest teachers. If we're open to it and we start realizing, um, the lessons that they teach us they're such wise souls and
Incredible.
definitely,
Hmm.
definitely. That's what a beautiful story. And how did Reiki awaken your gifts for intuitive energy work and spark this passion that you have to empower others?
Well, I think what it did is it just awakened me to my soul remembering who I already was.
Mhm.
I think I've always been a healer. I think my dad, my father's, where I'd gotten a lot of my spiritual gifts from innately. And I remember him doing a lot of trying to teach us meditation. He served time in Vietnam, and maybe perhaps that's where he was also very connected to the Native American heritage. And so I got a lot of teachings from him. And it was funny because all through growing up, we didn't know the names of stuff we were doing. We were just
Right.
doing it. And so I remember my dad moving his hands over my children when they were babies and just very gently talking to them and speaking in his language that I was like, okay, it's my dad. He's blah, 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 blah. But it's the spirit language that I know now comes through me, that light language and that tongue or whatever people call it, because I've experienced it. And so I was born as well in that fight or flight risk. So I came into this world with a hole in my stomach and I was consistently in that fight or flight. I almost didn't
Right.
make it. So
Right.
through the years, I always had these crazy dreams. I had night terrors. I was always a very sensitive soul. I just didn't know what I was doing. I was always saving animals and then they would die because they were in the wild and I thought I was helping them, but I
Uh,
wasn't supposed to touch them. You know, those things I learned through my father, like, hey, you have to leave them alone. And even though you want to save them. So I started getting very connected with the energy of nature.
mm,
And Reiki just awakened me to remembering all of that. And it
right.
calmed my soul down and it everything has happened so quickly with me that it opened up so many spiritual doors that I feel so comforted, that I can ground myself at any time that I need it, that I can help my fur animals and the people around me. And so it didn't really awaken me necessarily. It just awakened my soul to remembering what I
Right.
already knew. And now it's given me the terminology
Right.
to
Right.
attach to it. So
Right.
it's been
And
amazing.
you talk about the ability to transmit higher energies. Now, this sounds something a little different than Reiki. This sounds like another level of spiritual work. Can you talk a little bit more about that?
Well, it's just for me, it's not it may feel like another level for a lot of people, but it's really just tuning in and connecting. So what I do is it can be as easy those transmitting higher frequencies,
Mhm.
higher energies is raising your vibration.
Okay.
It's awakening that part of you. It's finding your gratitude. It's connecting to Mother Earth. It's releasing the negative vibrations that aren't there. And so when I do tap into sending those higher frequencies, it is in essence the beginning of that Reiki healing. It's sending that positive Reiki energy distantly, but it's also tapping into that deep, some people call it Kundalini energy, that
Mm.
deep feminine awakening, that deep Mother Earth, sacral womb healing. So it's all about intention that I go
Right.
deep within and I'm sending the white or a pink light in essence all
Mhm.
around you of those high frequencies of vibrations to raise your vibration levels. So vibration levels are really important because if we are in a lower vibrational level, which can include alcohol, negative mindset, negative self-talk, guilt, shame, all those icky feelings, the people we hang out with any of that, what we watch is going to keep us in a lower vibrational state.
Right.
Raising those vibrational frequencies is allowing us to just ground ourselves, to find our peace wherever it is that we are, to, with intention, start releasing the negative mindset and where we're placing our energy and where we're placing our priorities. So when I send it, and I
Hmm.
send that higher frequency, I'm in my mind doing a cleanse and I'm
Oh,
sweeping and I'm sending it to the core of your center, um, with the intention of lifting your vibrations as
okay.
highly as I can lift them after the cleanse.
Right.
So,
Yeah. And it's interesting because, I usually only talk dog related stuff on here, but part of my mission of helping pet parents is getting them to understand that not only do we need to focus on our dogs, but we really need to focus on self-care because a lot of issues that we're dealing with end up being expressed, like I was saying earlier, in our animals. And very often, if we have like, a behavior or a problem
yes,
comes up in a dog, in our dog, um, you know, and we don't understand why, it's really good to look inside and work on ourselves because very
yes.
often, if we fix what's going on with us, that behavior issue, I'll say magically in quotation marks, magically disappears. And I find what you do quite interesting because, as far as that additional piece is, I mean, I know you work with animals also, but I also find it really interesting what you do in your work with humans that could be really
Yeah.
beneficial for someone who might be going through a problem with their pet and needs
Mm.
to do some work and might not know how to
Yeah.
do it themselves.
Yeah. It's really important on that level.
Mhm.
I work really hard at keeping my vibrations high. Am I successful all the time? No, we're going to have low vibrational days. We're going to have low vibrational shit that comes in stuff. But I have to work really hard at it. And the time that came that I had to learn how to do that was when my daughter lost her firstborn son.
Um,
And Paxton Timothy was 8 days old. He was with us on this earth for 8 days and he had passed away. And
right.
I can't imagine what she went through because I haven't had to experience that. And so it was the first time in my life I didn't know as a mom, like I couldn't be there for her because I wasn't who she wanted.
No.
She wanted her baby. And so the
Right.
only thing I could do, because I actually felt like I was pushed away a little bit, um, the only thing I could do was raise my vibration.
Right.
And the reasoning behind that is when you raise your vibration, and you become in that gratitude mindset. And I always tell people, go for the gratitude mindset because then the law of attraction is going to start bringing in that gratitude, more of those frequencies for you. But the only thing I could do was to raise my vibration so that those that were connected to me, my daughters, my animals, those real strong bonds, those closest to us, are naturally going to feel that.
Right.
When I go into a room, I've had to take accountability for myself that I am a clairsentient empath. I can feel energies. I can take on the physical aspects. So then it would be just as same that my energy is just as strong and people can feel my vibrations. So I get told often when I do Reiki energy healings that I have a very positive, very calming vibration, or if I'm very hyper, people can feel that. And
Right.
so I have to, the dogs are extra sensitive to that, more
Yes.
so than humans.
Oh gosh, yes. Yeah.
And so it's really interesting. We have spa music going all the time on the TVs upstairs, and I'm talking to my dogs like normal people always. And so I've even got my partner who's a natural loving animal doing
Mhm.
that as well. So it's been
Yeah.
so beneficial. My dog, that has the golden retriever that has the Reiki, hasn't had one now in a little over a year. That
Wow.
has. So yeah.
Wow. Yeah. And so that if someone let's say, was having a problem with their dog and realized that they needed to work on themselves but didn't know where to turn. I mean, how do you help? Do you just do Reiki healings on humans, or do you have other modalities that you use depending on what their issue is, and how do you decide what the best course of action is for the person?
Yeah, I'm actually in the works of doing that. And so I'm hoping by the end of April to have the
Mhm.
launch completed. But I've been working on behind the scenes. They're not launched yet, but two courses, or a course and an e-guide on crystals, how that can help, especially with very sensitive souls like
Yeah.
myself and empaths. And three techniques is coming out on three daily practices on activating that inner GPS, which is activating those inner modalities and
Right.
learning through meditation, journaling, and crystals. So that will be coming out. In the meantime, I offer chat sessions. I offer one-on-one virtual mystic wisdom reading sessions,
Okay.
guidance for your soul. And I also do distant Reiki energy healing as well.
Wonderful.
I
Wonderful.
have quite a bit of videos on my TikTok at the Mystic Gigi is my main flow.
Mhm.
And follow me on YouTube. I'll be growing that with meditations and so much more to come as well.
Oh, that's
And that
wonderful.
will also be the Mystic Gigi. So
Super.
it won't
That's
just be Mystic, it'll be the Mystic Gigi that I'll be
right.
going into.
Okay, that's great. Yeah. And can you give some examples of the benefits that you've seen on working energetically with dogs, and what changes you've seen on the type of work that you do, especially because you work with these higher frequencies. So it's not necessarily a traditional Reiki session, and how they react to that because they are so much more sensitive.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Giving Reiki energy healing to my pets has produced significant results, especially when it comes into reducing the anxiety.
Mhm.
Very specifically to the golden retriever Daisy, who started at 3 years old in 2020. And so it's been 4 years
Yeah.
that she's been having them. And it used to be very progressive, every 3 months. And she would have three or four in a 24-hour period. And
Mhm.
then the last big haul, she had 18 seizures within 24 hours. And her
Wow.
brain swelled. We took her in. We let go of the vet that we had. We changed.
Mhm.
And it turned out he ended up passing away. God rest his soul. He had a medical condition. So we went to another vet and changed Daisy's medications.
Mhm.
Um, have kept her on a very consistent, but we also changed. I started then doing daily Reiki energy.
Mhm.
I started having spa music playing, and it wasn't really until this last year that we have recognized, we just said it's been almost a year that she's had,
Wow.
like, she may have had a couple where she just kind of, we brought her out of it. We could tell she was getting high anxiety,
Right.
but that amazes me. So, it could just be all the medication, which I think that is very important
Yes.
for grand mal seizures. It has definitely a place. But I also feel strongly, without a doubt, that doing Reiki energy, checking my energy, calming ourselves down, and giving them just unconditional love has helped. We
Yeah.
also have put them on a food counting, like we measure their food out so that they're not overweight,
Right.
too much
Right.
and all that. But yeah,
Yeah.
it's been huge. So what was it, 18 seizures? And now it's
Mm.
been over a year that we've had to take her in.
Wow, that's amazing. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're really, yeah, noticing a lot of different benefits by incorporating this type of work and
Yeah. And then now I do like a group session. I do group healing wherever they are. I haven't had to do an individual one on Daisy for
Mhm.
a while, but she'll let me know when she's ready. It's
Right.
like she starts coming into me and leaning and getting really needy and waggy. So I kind of know when I need to check her.
Right.
And so, yeah, it's really interesting. When I say it's time for Reiki, I have now 4 dogs and a
Right.
cat. And I'm like, it's time for Reiki. I turn on my music and they all come in and get their spots on my big king size bed. And that's usually where we do it.
Yeah.
And I put crystals out and just lay it. And hey, it's a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
love it.
I do regular meditations and Reiki with my dogs as well. So yeah, it is. They definitely
And
know when it's time.
well, and
So
dogs feel energy. Like
Mhm.
cats, I think, can see your energy.
Right.
But dogs feel like it's
Mhm.
proof, like they feel the energies. They know what's going on with the earth and the moon and those
Right.
things naturally, but they feel our energy.
Definitely. Yeah. And
Yeah.
do you mainly work with humans or do you also work with animals in your professional context?
Professionally, I mainly work with humans.
Okay.
I I do it for my family,
Right.
friends, but I haven't gone there. But maybe after today, I could do a distant. I'll open up on my site a distant Reiki energy
Yeah.
virtual
Yeah.
energy healing. And I just invite anyone to try it out.
Yeah.
Not only are you going to get the healing energy for yourself, but when you do a virtual energy healing, you get it not just for your dog, but you get it for yourself. And it's a
Right.
beautiful thing to bond that energy together and to
Yeah.
do it with your pet.
Definitely. I mean, and especially, going back to what we were talking about before about the fact that a lot of times it's the human, the human has stuff that they need to go through. So it is nice to be able to get that, they kind of get an extra bonus because it's helping their pet, but it's also helping them as well. And so they can work through it together.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
so. I
Yeah.
think that's beautiful. And maybe I'm inspired. I'll put it on my Mystic Gigi. I will create a quick video of just sitting with my dog and doing a quick breathe in, breathe out
Mhm.
meditation and how you can just sit with your dog for a few
Yeah.
minutes and ground your energy.
Yes,
I think that's the first step is
definitely,
just
definitely.
learning how to ground yourself and recognizing.
Yeah, yeah. And I'd love to hear how your own animals have become your spirit teachers, and really teaching you to stay present and helping you grow, spiritually as well, because they are our greatest teachers.
Oh my gosh, they are. They show me the joy of living in the present daily when I am now in a position where I'm finally finding my balance. I went through a big journey. I had panic attacks. I wasn't able to work for a while. I mean, just all the grieving I had went through in the last few years just hit me hard. And so even though I had all the tools spiritually, it still brought me to my knees and humbled
Yeah,
me. One of the ways probably one of the only ways I've gotten through it is the love of my pets, recognizing that I'm not alone. They lean into you when you need healing so beautifully. But at the same time, recognizing that I had that accountability to them too. And
yeah,
so that's where the teaching comes in. That's where they have taught me patience. They have taught me unconditional love. They have taught me about tapping into that power inside of myself
yeah,
to calm myself down and to channel my energy. They have helped me to guide me on where they need healing.
mhm,
Um, because I do tune into my animals on a telepathic level, I feel like sometimes.
yeah.
Um, but yeah,
That's wonderful. Yeah. And and we all can communicate telepathically with our animals. It's just that we have forgotten that we're able to do that.
well, and I think sometimes people get in their heads, they get in that ego and
Hmm.
telepathic, that's woo-woo stuff.
Yeah.
Sorry, excuse me. I'm sorry. I've got it's seasonal here with the
Yeah.
wind and the dogs and everything. But no, I mean it makes sense on a nature level, on an energy level. Everything is made of energy. So one of the things I've been doing in the last year and a half as well is called shamanic training, shamanic healing. So I've learned a lot about connecting deep with Mother Nature and tuning into that energy and the power animals and the gifts they have. And I'm telling you, there is something innate about our connection with animals. It's in Mother Nature. It's they are truly gifts that are given to us, and we don't own them. We're
Yeah.
gifted them. And
Yeah.
so that's kind of the spiritual teachings I've been given, is to get out of my ego. And when I talk to them, I have to, I'm not the one that owns you. I mean, I am, but I'm like, I'm here as a, like, I respect them on a whole different
Right.
level
Right. And I
now.
think that we have, I mean, there is a global shift happening
We're all
that
connected.
we are starting to realize that they're more, I like to be anthropomorphic because it's been such a taboo word to say in the past, but I feel like we need to parent them differently and see them more
Yeah.
as partners,
Yeah.
and equals, and with their own souls and decisions and choices, and allowing them more choice. And so yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I know a lot of people are like, they're just dogs, and I would probably choose an infant child, human child, in a situation where I had to grab one or the other, maybe, in that situation. But good Lord, I mean, they come to this earth, um, neglected, abused, beaten sometimes, and they're just little tiny, super sweet creatures that fill us so much with love and joy. And it's like, I personally like to await for the ones that need me to
Mhm.
adopt or take in,
Yeah.
and that's the most beautiful thing, when you get a dog that needs you just as much as you need them
Yeah.
at that time. That's a spiritual thing that's happening
That's
for
definitely.
me on those
Yeah.
levels. Like, yeah.
Definitely, definitely. And I like to ask all my guests this question towards the end of our time together. I have a mission of a new type of parent, of dog parenting, which I call soul-led dog parenting, which incorporates the mind, body, and spirit into this beautiful, holistic way of parenting our pets. And I would love to hear how you feel what you do fits into that mission.
Oh, I think that fits in very beautifully. All that I have geared to do. I said, it is such a good thing that we don't live rural, because I would have probably 25, 50 animals all the time. But I do soul led parenting already. I feel
Mhm.
like I tune into my animals. And okay, so like, just when I get up in the morning and I have a cup of coffee, I sit in my bed, I listen to my meditations, I give my animals a check-in. I love them. I hug them. I pet them. I'm like, how's everybody doing? Did you sleep well? Checking in on their energy and feeling that connection is such a beautiful thing for harmony and balance in the
Yeah,
home. They tell us what's wrong with them. We just need to listen. They tell us when they're happy or they're not happy.
definitely.
Um, so yeah, I feel like it starts with taking accountability of ourselves.
Hmm.
And if you're going to be a pet owner, it's a commitment, right? And
Yeah.
even if you don't have children of your own, connecting with your pet on an energetic, spiritual, soulful level is such an amazing gift.
Hmm.
It's such an amazing journey. Um, it's a different level. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't have to spend lots of money on my dogs. I mean, I like the baskets and the cute clothes, but it's just that, hey, we're connected, we're good. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful thing. I think I automatically do it. Maybe a
Yeah.
little too much.
That's wonderful. I thought it was actually quite funny. People on the podcast won't be able to see this, but if they go to YouTube, the video will be there. But when you said you liked the little clothes, your pup looked up at you with this look like, I don't think so.
I know she normally hasn't worn little clothes at her home.
I don't
Now
think
she's
she
10
did.
and she's like, don't you do
Yeah.
it.
So she looked up at you. She gave you side eye. Like, I don't think it was very funny. It was,
My sister said, when the first time I took her overnight, it was like a month ago. Oh, no, I took her for like the weekend. her and her other sister, when they went home, she was trying to, like, she tried to escape a couple of times. She wouldn't look at them. And my sister's like, she wanted to come back to you so bad.
Aw.
But I don't know. It's kind of fun.
She's
It's
a
sweet.
sweetie. She's cute. It was a very cute. It was a very cute reaction. So, so before we wrap up, do you have any final thoughts or words that you'd like to share with our audience?
Oh, I just say, count the blessings that you have when you come across any type of animal, the beautiful blessing, the message that it has to offer you. But when you have pets, there's a certain beautiful gift and responsibility that comes with that. No matter your circumstances, the best thing you can do is connect on an energetic level, check your energy, check your balance in your situation in life, and remember that they purely are like reflections of what's going on with us. And so there's a deep connection. So just connect with them, do what you can do, and follow me on the Mystic Gigi on mysticgigi.com.
Yeah, well, I was about to
That'll
ask
be
you that. I
changing.
was going to say,
Well, it was Mystic. The platform I'm going through right now, I started as Mystic Gigi, and when I develop my courses, then I want to go into the Mystic Gigi,
okay.
maybe. So that may change, but either way,
Okay.
you'll be
So
able to find me.
your website
Everything.
is then mysticgigi.com?
Everything is the Mystic Gigi,
Okay.
except for my website. It's Mystic. It doesn't have the Gigi at the beginning.
Okay. So
And you can find that on my social media
okay. Well, I
as
will put
well.
that in the show notes as well for everybody if they want to reach out and connect with you or follow you on any of your social platforms. So
Thank
you're
you.
welcome. So thank you so much for having spent time with us today. And I really appreciated you sharing your wonderful stories. I'm always so very grateful for enlightening guests. So thank you so
Yeah.
much for chatting with me today.
Thank you for inviting me.
You're
I
welcome.
appreciate it. How fun.
You're welcome. Thanks so much. And
All right.
thanks everyone for listening to this episode. We'll catch you in the next one. Have a lovely day. Bye-bye. Thank you for listening to this podcast. If you're the kind of person who likes to help others, then share this with your friends and family who have pets. If you have found value, they will too. If you have questions, I'm here to help. Email me questions at contact@enlightenedanimal.com, and I may use your question for a future podcast episode. If you want more, check out my website at www.enlightenedanimal.com. Finally, I have a personal request. Please leave a review wherever you're listening to this podcast, ideally a positive one, so we can reach more people and help more animals' lives. Thanks for listening.